All right, everybody, welcome. Fernando Puente of El Bordo. Welcome, brother.
Hey,
Welcome.
what's up, man? Right, thanks for the invite.
Man, thank you, bro. Thank you for coming. We appreciate your time. I was telling them this is a much more casual situation than probably usually get. I seen you talk to Julian Dorsey and Johnny Mitchell and stuff, and it's like we're a little bit more relaxed and more conversation style. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I feel you, I feel you.
we also like I try to stay away from the clickbait shit. I didn't want to put you up there on the title as cartel smuggler from fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah. I mean, they used it for the clickbait. I get it.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, if you watch the first one I did with Danny Jones, um, yeah, he named it like cartel smuggler. But the first thing I say as soon as the video starts is I was never in the cartel. So that was kind
Absolutely.
of a it was kind of a condition I told him to, like, you could clickbait the name, but make sure like that's the first thing I say as soon as it starts. You know.
Yeah, it's like because you have an understanding of the shit that they don't have an understanding of. It's like, yeah, clickbait
Yeah,
is
because
one
I
thing.
mean, one thing is a good friend out here, Cholo Juan, he calls it, this is the YouTube yarda. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The YouTube yarda is one thing, and the streets is another thing, and words like that
absolutely.
can you know what I mean, can be in both sides in
Yeah,
a way. So
intertwine the two in a way that that probably wasn't supposed to happen, but it happened because of some bullshit like that.
yeah, exactly.
But I did notice that. I thought that was dope that you instantly off the bat you was like, let's make it very clear because there's some dudes that'll run with the story. That's just what the internet is people running with. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I was cartel guy, and it's like, come on, man, what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah, no, because usually like people don't really understand about like the gray areas, like what I've been explaining on some of these podcasts of how like you can kind of like freelance, you know what I mean? And I mean sometimes get some work from the cartel, sometimes you do your own thing, you know? You don't have to be like on a payroll or something like that to be like considered. I mean, unless you're really like with them 24/7,
Mm-hmm.
like everything you do is with them, then yeah, you're part of it. You know what I mean? But if you're just kind of like sometimes doing stuff and shit like that, you're not really part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, like it's like what we run into with guys on the internet. That's like, yeah, they sold the dime bag, and they're like, I bought the QP from a Mexican dude, and it's like, yeah, I was smuggling for I was selling for the cartel. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro,
Yeah, it's easy to say that on the internet, and it's easier for people to believe you. You know, if you're the one saying that. But yeah, that's kind of some of the stuff I've been trying to explain to people out here in these podcasts.
that's what's up. A little bit about your background, man. I want to talk about your graffiti life. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm a hip hop dude. I'm an MC. I believe I'm older than you. How old are you?
I just turned 35 like a few weeks ago.
Salutes, happy birthday. You know what I'm saying? I'm about 10 years
No,
older
thanks.
than you. But I'm interested, yeah, in your hip hop. You coming up on the border town like that and going back and forth. You already had a unique experience. You know what I'm saying? And it allowed you, something that probably kids deep on the Mexican side didn't get this admiration and this joy for hip hop and graffiti and stuff like that. So that's like it's a different ingredient in your story that you're a hip hop dude. I want to hear about that first. Like, tell me about your beginnings in graffiti and with music and shit like that.
Well, I mean, with music, I was always attracted to music. Always, like I was always that kid with the headphones. You know what I mean? Always bumping different shit. I remember we used to record the tapes. You know, you had to wait in the radios for the song you wanted to come on, and then once it was on, I would record it on my tape, and that's like my first playlist. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Just catching the songs I wanted in the radio and just recording them on a tape. I don't know if people know this, or a lot of people know this, but you know, the cassettes. You could just put like you could
Yeah.
just cover the little holes on the top, and then you could record on that. You know, whether it was like a commercial tape, like a famous person's tape, you can still like record over that if you uh if you cover those little holes. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I had an uncle. He passed away a few years ago, but he was 9 years older than me, and he was really into like the street life too. So like all the Dr. Dre and all the Brother Lynch and Bone Thugs and Harmony and all that. I kind of got it from him, you know, and I had a friend back in my neighborhood. He also had like an older cousin. He was like 7 years older, and he would listen to a lot of Cypress Hill in Spanish. You know, when that double album came out, and they had all these songs in Spanish. That was the first time. I think. Yo Quiero Fumar Mota was like the first song I ever memorized, you know? Yeah, just because the lyrics were so simple and it was in Spanish and it was kind of like the first thing you heard. I mean, I remember I couldn't bump that in my house because my mom would trip. But one time my uncle caught me listening to it. He just laughed. He's like, "What the fuck are you listening to?" And I was like, "Oh, just this tape I got from so and so." And he just laughed and walked out. But yeah, I mean, plus it was the MTV days, so we just love the videos, man. I mean, some not even hip hop videos. I remember that one song by Madonna, the music. I think it was music. Well, the video was just crazy. It was just like cartoonish mixed with like very luxurious, like very extravagant and like exaggerated. You know what I mean? So I remember that was a cool video. So just I was me and my friends were just fans of MTV and a lot of that culture, you know, the music culture. But all the rap and all that stuff, I got it from my uncle. And I mean, I kind of was always a creative kid. So what I got around, what I saw, things created around my neighborhood or artistic were graffiti murals. You know what I mean? Graffiti was big in TJ for the same reason of being next to the border. You know, we get a lot of influence from LA. You know, all these stuff just drips down to TJ. Back then, it took a few years to catch on out there because it's not like today in social media where an artist like releasing something and it's available to the world. You know, back then, like you kind of had to wait for that wave, you know, to reach out there. And and for the same reason that a lot of people don't understand the lyrics, um, we were very West Coast just because the beats. You know what I mean? Just because the music and the flow was like, you know what I mean? It was different than like a New York beat, for instance. You know, where it's a little bit more of the lyrics. You know,
Yeah,
you really
at that time, you were gonna know the difference. It ain't like now where a lot of people got the same kind of style. You was gonna tell the difference back then for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And all that West Coast stuff. Plus, I mean, just having them perform in like places like Rosarito or Tijuana for like the spring break and all that. I remember Revolution Avenue in TJ. It's just this big ass avenue with like 8 streets of just filled with clubs, you know, and they tend a lot to tourists because we're right next to the border. So you would have like on the first street you have like DJ Quick, and then 2 blocks later you have like I don't know, like 50 Cent. You know what I mean? And they were all like they would have concerts out there, and then that's where they went an after party. So I mean I couldn't go into the clubs because I was like well like 14, 15, but Avenida Revolucion was kind of like the place where you went and walked around with all your you know your neighborhood, your gang or whatever. You fought other guys, or you know what I mean, and you go pick up girls and stuff even if you were a minor. So I remember I had some friends that were able to go in the club with like fake IDs or something. And I remember we had these old phones where the camera was all fucked up. But I remember I gave my phone to one of them, and he took pictures of like DJ Quick and Jayo Felony and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, and then also realizing when I realized like corridos were like the Mexican rap, the Mexican gangster rap, because I was like, always into gangster rap. It just everything just kind of went full circle, you know.
Yeah, man, hip hop. It's a beautiful thing. It's a universal language for a lot of people. You know, from all of it, from the graffiti to the dancing to the music.
Yeah, and we had a lot of graffiti movement out there. We had a lot of we had like local magazines, not local, but like Mexican magazines being sold in like the newsstands and stuff like that. And back then I was always walking, man. So in the morning I would catch a ride with my mom when she went to work. She would drop me off at the trolley station,
Brian
but she would
Furo's
drop me
just
off like
subscribed on
at
YouTube.
6 in the morning, you know. So I had to wait a little bit for my bus to get there and all that. So after school, I just caught the bus to the border and then walked across. And downtown is not really that far, so sometimes if I'm like with a couple of friends and we're just having fun, we'll walk all the way to downtown and catch the other bus all the way to my house. Or sometimes I would catch the bus right there at the border to downtown and so on. But every time I walked over there, it's like you just saw everything. You know, you saw all the culture, you saw the murals. You know how downtown is. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So yeah, just having all this stuff around. I was always drawing too. I was always with a notebook, you know, with just like even I never like got art classes or anything, but I remember at first I would trace like some of the drawings and then kind of like repeat it. You know what I mean? To learn how to make some of the like the eyes or the nose or letters mostly because I always did letters. So yeah, that's kind of where the love began. I think for hip hop.
Do you still get to paint?
Yeah, I mean. Not as often and not as constantly, but I always got a backpack full of cans. I mean, actually, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm in my car right now, and you know
That's
what I mean.
it.
That never goes away,
Yeah,
man.
that's some bloodstream shit. Like you're just gonna have it. It's just gonna be there.
It's just there. Yeah, yeah. I mean, once I got older and I stopped with like the nickname, and because in TJ we were more like tag bangers, you know, it was a lot of both, a lot of graffiti, but also a lot of fighting and stuff. So, I mean, once I got older and like I wasn't really trying to like get my name out there. I didn't really get the satisfaction of like putting my name out there. I
Mm,
started doing like characters. Just I
right.
always kind of wanted to draw like cartoons and stuff, but I wasn't never good at drawing, or at least I felt like it. And then I remember one time, this has to be like 5 years ago, probably, or a little bit more. And I wanted some stuff done in my room, so I called my friend who actually I began painting with him, and I told him like, "Hey, wait, can you draw this in the door, whatever?" And he's like, "Simon," and he's like, "You want me to do it right now?" I was like, because I thought he was gonna, like do it
Right.
first, and like do all this shit. And he's like, and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, do it right now." So I was just looking at him, looking at the picture, and going at it, and he fucking did it. You know what I mean? And once he did that, it got to me like, like I was like, man, like not. I was like, if he can do it, I can do it because we started the same and we're kind of like the same
Right.
like talent wise. So yeah, so he left, whatever, and then after that, I tried it with a Bart Simpson, and it came out fucking perfect, man. Like if I was been drawing all my life, and then
You unlocked the superpower you didn't even know you fucking
yeah,
had.
bro, like on my fucking 28, 29 years old, I fucking learned I knew how to draw with a can. It's funny because on paper they don't come out as well, but when I do it like on a bigger size
Mm,
and with a can, they come out like the way I wanted to come out. I've been doing characters since then. Like every time I'm bored, or whatever, I just been doing like Looney Tunes, like a Bart Simpson, Speedy Gonzalez, or just stuff like that, and I'll
mm,
just put like El Bordo next to it or stuff like that.
nice.
But yeah, I mean that's gonna be forever.
For sure. I heard you say on a podcast that there was an evolution in the murals that coming up, a lot of the murals had to do with a lot of the bosses or a lot of the cartel life and stuff like that. And it's evolved into things like one of my favorite fighters, Brandon Moreno, having a giant mural in TJ. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tell me about that, and tell me if tell me a little something you could tell me about Brendan Moreno and his come up there. Like I watched his come up on this side, you know what I'm saying? Always rooting for that fucking guy, genuine guy, very authentic guy. He seems, you know what I'm saying? Nice guy. How did you guys see that in TJ his little come up?
Nah, we love him, man. I mean, Tijuana's always been like a lot of athletic stars have come out, and like boxing and wrestling. Wrestling they call it TJ in Mexican wrestling they call it, what do they call it? The cemetery of the mask, because everybody lost their mask there. You know how they bet like a mask or cabellera. You know what I mean? Either you shave your head or you took a mask. It's in the triple A thing in Mexican wrestling. So Tijuana has a lot of great wrestlers, man, like legendary, like even referees. So they call it the cemetery of the mask because a lot of people, a lot of popular wrestlers lost their mask out here and those kind of battles and stuff. So just having that, like Terrible Morales, one of the greatest boxers. I mean, Julio Cesar Chavez is from Sinaloa, but he stays in TJ. He's always loved TJ, so you see him a lot around. There's a big community in fighting. So now that the UFC came out, it was big in TJ before anywhere else. And just because we're very close to the border, you know what I mean? Like it's very like TJ is not like any other place in Mexico. It's very very half and half almost. You know what I mean? Um, so I mean, we're very proud of Brandon Moreno, the guy you're talking about doing the murals. I started painting with him too.
Nice.
When I was like, I think I have a podcast with him with Mode. That was like my second legal wall I did with him. He was already like 5 years deep in the graffiti probably by that time. He was already doing like 3D and stuff like that. And those were my beginnings, man. And now just seeing him doing his thing big, like now if you like I told him, like I'm now, one of my goals is to get a mural from you. You know what I mean? Like once you get a mural from Mo, yeah, because he just done like a bunch of people in TJ.
let's get it while I'm living, motherfuckers. All right,
Yeah, I told him too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need to see that live, bro. So I mean, that's kind of one of the little things why I do all this stuff. When I try to put on for my name for for my city. You know what I mean? Just because I really fuck with all the local shit that's happening. I really like once I like see the bigger picture and just see all these different outlets and stuff. Like when I saw Ed Calderon and Joe Rogan, I was like, oh shit! Like there's a there's there's um there's a fan base for this. You know what I mean? Like we're actually special out here. You know, we're living a whole fucking different world that it's actually interesting that people learn about. You know, and I love my
Absolutely.
city, so I love to talk about it. You know, I
Was
don't
that
mind.
one of the starts of your channel? Did you have a channel already when Ed went on Joe Rogan, or did that come after? Or
Nah, that came way after. I mean, I got in the kind of in the industry, basically just sidekicking Codiciado, which is a famous corrido singer. Um, like back in 2015, I started getting to. I used to sell a lot of weed, a lot of like American weed out there. So I started. I used to sell to a lot of musicians. We got a big music community out there, like norteños and all that. So I would sell to a lot of them, and I remember when my friends passed, I wanted to make them a corrido. So that's kind of I started tapping into the music. Eventually, like one thing led to the other. I met this guy from Codiciado, and we just became really good friends. Up to this day, like we consider each other like one of our. He's one of my best friends, you know. So so we came. I mean, I was on his come up and actually helped, you know, just changing the whole industry, like this. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with like the suits that the norteños wear, like the corridos and all that. You know, they used to wear the hat and the suits, and that's really like country swag. You know what I mean? So I remember I told my friend like, "Hey, we're from the city. You know, we don't really dress like that. Like, nope, you don't see people out here with the sombreros. You don't see them with that kind of dress." So my homie has swag. So I told him like, "Hey, if you stop using those suits and actually start wearing like your own shit, I think that can pop off because." Like I said, I've always been a fan of hip hop, so I know the whole story of how the hip hop evolution has gone through. And I was like, this is gonna go through the same thing because it's street music, you know. And it's crazy because everything we talked about, we got high on acid that one time, and I explained him like the whole history on hip hop. I translated Kendrick songs. I showed him ASAP Rocky videos. You know what I mean? I just fucking
that's
I
what I'll
just
be
filled them
on.
up
I'll beat
with all this
somebody's
shit.
ear in with some hip hop, boy.
Yeah. So I mean, and you could tell, you could see the change. Like my friend, he gets the recognition for like all the major industry figures about being like one of the pioneers of like bringing that swag and bringing that urban stuff to the corridos. You know, after that it went off. Like you see Natanael Cano, you see JOPs, and then after that you see what Peso Pluma's doing right now. So I mean, you know what I mean? I don't want to like take that responsibility. Like, yeah, but I kind of did put my
Hey,
five
own
cents
that
in on
shit.
that. You know
Own
what I
it.
mean?
It's yours, bro. Own it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Because that's like a thing that I talk about with the twins a lot about how, people get it fucked up. The Mexican culture in Chicago is not like the Mexican culture in LA. It's not like the Mexican culture in Texas. And I'm sure it's like you said for TJ, you know what I'm saying? It's something different, like it's just different everywhere. And it doesn't, people don't realize that. They think everybody's the same thing. They stereotype people to one thing. You wear khakis with a crease, you wear this and that, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, I mean, you got some people from like let's say what they call the pochos or the no sabo kids, you know, that they say like, oh, they don't even fuck with me in Mexico or shit like that. But I mean, it's not really like that. It's very regional. I mean, even in Mexico, the guys from Merida, Yucatan are not like the guys from Tamaulipas, you know, and the guys from Tamaulipas are not like the guys from Sinaloa, and the guys from Sinaloa are not like the guys from Puebla or CDMX, you know, and the guys from CDMX are not like the guys from TJ. So you can't expect to Mexicans from LA or Mexicans from Chicago or Mexicans from Texas to be the same amongst themselves either. You know what I mean?
right.
So I think it just comes down to the regional thing.
Yeah, I mean that's us as humans anyway. We always gonna find something to bitch about,
Exactly.
complain about.